Yeah, okay, so we are ready to begin. Chair, lead the way. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. The first thing we do is introduce ourselves. Hello, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm Councillor Gina Adamu, Haringey Ward, and I chair the licensing subcommittee. Can I ask my colleagues, the members first, to introduce themselves, please?
Hi, I'm Councillor Sarah Williams from West Green Ward.
And I'm Councillor Viv Ross from Fortis Green Ward.
Thank you. And then we come to our officers.
Hi, I'm Dale Barrett, Licensing Team Leader.
I'm Michelle Williams, Legal Advisor.
I'm Nisha Bishar, Licensing Officer.
Excellent. And we have our legal advisor.
I'm Michelle Williams, Legal Advisor.
And then I think we have a new member on the team. Nas, will you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello, my name is Nazir Chowdhury and I am a member of Democratic Services and I will be the clerk for today's meeting. Thank you, Chair.
And of course, Fiona is here as always, reliable. Thank you all very much. Can I ask applicants? I think the licensing authority has introduced them. The applicants, please.
Good afternoon, members. My name is Maher Kilic. I'm the applicant's agent. I'm currently at hospital to do a CT scan. Mr. David Tweed will be representing the applicant. An applicant is also connected, Mr. Mehmet Temur also is connected.
Thank you very much. I hope everything goes well for you in the hospital. Yes, and okay. Anybody, have I missed anybody? Mr. Mehmet? We can't hear you.
Mehmet, unmute yourself. Press the microphone button.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, Mr. Mehmet is with us. Thank you very much. Okay. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available for public viewing. Apologies, I don't think we have any. Urgent business. Again, because this is a special meeting of the subcommittee under Part 4, Section B, Paragraph 17 of the Council's Constitution, no other business shall be considered at this meeting. Declaration of interest? No, thank you. The procedure for the meeting has been emailed to all participants by the clerk. For the purpose of any members of the public watching, we will first hear from the licensing officer. After that, the objectors will present their case and the committee and applicants will have the opportunity to ask questions. Then the applicant will present their application and the committee and objectors will have the opportunity to ask questions. All parties will then have the opportunity to sum up, and then the meeting will conclude to allow the committee to deliberate and reach a decision. This decision will be provided in writing within 5 working days of this meeting. Now I'm asking the licensing officer, Mrs. Barrett, to present your report, please.
Thank you, Chair. The panel has before them today an application for variation of an existing premises licence at Oz Tottenham Supermarket at 467-469 High Road, Tottenham N17, which is in the Bruce Grove ward. The applicant is Mr. Mehmet Temur, and he's seeking the removal of conditions on the licence, condition 17 in fact, that the premises shall not stock high strength beers in excess of 6.5 ABV and no single cans of alcohol to be sold at the premises. Chair, at one point there are representations received, Chair, from the licensing authority on this matter, and at 1.5 you have the Chair, the matters that the committee may consider in determining this particular matter once you've heard from all parties, and again reminding the committee that it makes clear any decision it comes to in writing. In terms of background, Chair, the premises itself is a large supermarket situated along the High Road, Tottenham, at the junction with St. Loy's Road. The area has and still is does have a problem with ongoing antisocial behaviour from street drinkers that congregate in this location, and the premises has in the past had issues with stocking illicit tobacco and alcohol. And apologies there, Chair, I put there a minor variation, but it's not. If you look on the premises licence itself, which is in the pack, you'll notice on page 28 that the premises licence has been subject to a review previously, Chair, which was appealed and was determined by the magistrates. In fact, the magistrates upheld the licensing authorities, licensing subcommittee's decision on this matter, and did in fact impose that condition 17 relating to the high strength beers and high strength beers and no single cans of alcohol to be sold at the premises. In terms of the background to all of that, Chair, the premises was found to be stocking illicit tobacco and illicit alcohol, which was said to have been smuggled into the UK and put on sale within the shop here, and was discovered by HMRC and the Haringey's trading standards officers at the time. Mr. Timmer might say that he was not part and parcel of this, but the licence itself, and certainly under the company names that have been there, has always been in the name of Timmer, Mehmet Timmer, Katbar Timmer, and Miss Mukaddes Timmer, who remained, or said she remained, as the DPS on this licence for some years. And then finally came off, in fact, I think a year or so back now. The licence as it stands is actually in the name of Oz Supermarket Tottenham, I believe, and Mr. Mehmet Timmer is there as the director on Company's House. As I've said, the area does continue to have issues with street drinking, and they are visible throughout the day and night in the location. And due to this, there is within this particular part of Haringey, there is a Safer Tottenham partnership in play. One of the things that they're doing in partnership with the Regeneration Town Centre manager is trying to sign various businesses up to help combat some of the issues that's being experienced in this area, with the hope that businesses will feel more engaged and will be more readily to report crime and criminality and things that they see happening on, in and around their immediate premises, really. So that is an ongoing issue that we have in the area, Chair. Chair, in terms of the licensing policy matters, I'm happy to go through them, but I know you're all experienced committee members and know this section fairly well. If there's anything you want to point out or to bring forward to me at the end, then please do so. I would remind the panel also that the Section 17 of the Crime and Disorder Act comes into play on this matter, as does the human rights considerations, Chair, on this matter. And Chair, there I'll leave it as a general overview for you, unless you have any questions you wish to ask me.
Thank you very much. I personally don't have any questions, but I think Councillor Viv Ross has some questions.
Sorry about that, Chair. My
Not to worry.
thumb wouldn't move the cursor. I've got two questions. One is, and I read somewhere in the papers, has the DPS changed recently? You said over a year ago, Dale, but is it?
So, Chair, let me just check on that, and I will get back to you with.
Okay.
Visa here on the license.
Sure, I saw it
So,
somewhere.
yeah, it was very DPS on the 14th of August 2021.
Okay. And this might be a question for legal actually, but the magistrate's decision, which was on this time last year, 23rd of October. I'm sure, or I'm guessing I know the answer to this, that we can overturn that decision as a committee, or because that's a legal decision by a magistrate, do we actually have the power to overturn that decision?
Chair, the application before you is for a variation of the premises license. So the decision of the magistrates means that the conditions that they impose are now conditions on the license, and the premises holder is entitled to make an application for a variation at any time, and it's within the committee's discretion to be able to consider that application. So you wouldn't be overturning their decision as such.
Okay, so it does come back to us. Okay, I knew that was the answer. I just wanted to confirm it. Okay, thank you. No questions.
So, Chair, can I just
Yes.
sorry, I should have mentioned also that the area in which the premises is situated is part of an existing PSPO, so a public spaces protection order, which is basically a tool that's used for the police and our enforcement officers to help with carrying out enforcement against street drinking that's causing alarm or distress to people nearby or having to view that, Chair.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, no. Can I ask if the applicant, do you have any questions on the report?
I don't have any questions, Chair, no.
Okay, and then I will ask the licensing authority, anywhere, but do you have any questions?
No, Chair, I don't have any questions.
Okay, in that case, thank you. In that case, we come to you. You are the person who you got a report as well, and you objecting. Would you like to present your report, please?
Thank you, Chair. As Ms. Barrett has already pointed out, the problems with street drinking we have in this area in particular, we have had several complaints in the past about this business selling to street drinkers. And in fact, one of our enforcement officers last year visited the business and spoke to the manager at the time, Ozgi Boran. And if I can quote from the officer, she basically states that Ms. Boran's response was they wish to do business and sell alcohol, so they will continue to sell to street drinkers. I know Ms. Boran is no longer there, but we believe she was working on behalf of the Timur director at the time. So we think it's all part parcel of the same owners. For these reasons and the antisocial behaviour in this area, we cannot support this variation and the conditions they wish to remove from the licence. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. I will take questions from members first. Can I ask you about you said in your report that there still are problems in the area with existing drinkers there. Can I ask why I don't know, you may not be able to answer this, but why the police haven't put any report to us?
So, Chair, can I jump in on that one, please?
Yes, please, yeah.
The problem is that we don't have a dedicated police licensing officer at this moment in time. And unfortunately, this is not the only case that things are, it's, not been responded to as one would have expected, you know, when we did have a dedicated officer, to be honest with you. So that's the reason.
Well, let's hope in the future that will somehow we turn it around, because it's quite.
Yeah, we are in discussions, Chair, with the borough commander about the situation.
Yeah, Councillor Viv, you got your hand.
I was just going to say, you said we don't have a police officer, a licensing officer. You mean the police don't have one?
Sorry, the police do not have a dedicated
okay.
licensing officer. Like
I'm sure we knew what she meant.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that as well.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. Any other questions from members?
Sorry, Chair, can I also mention that I'd just like to state that the problems continuing in this area were witnessed on the 25th of September, in particular to the Spurs event where they had the AJ fight. Officers were assisting with the footflow of spectators there, and there were lots of street drinkers witnessed outside this premises who took opportunity to cause that antisocial behaviour, in particularly begging.
Oh dear. Okay. Okay. Thank you for the information. If there are no members, oh sorry, Councillor Williams.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure who the question's for, but just in a general term, is there an inference that the conditions aren't being abided by currently? Is that the inference that am I correct to take that from? Because if they already can't sell high strength or single items, but there still is a problem, or is there an inference of something else?
Yeah, Chair, I think in fairness, the problems are still existing in the location as a whole. And it's certainly something, you know, that even as I say of late, the region team have had to be thinking about, well, we need to be doing something more proactive here in this location. And I believe it is spreading. I think that they were saying to me that in fact the problems were now right outside of this premises is St. Loy's Road. So the congregation is happening there, and there's a church nearby and in a churchyard and so forth, an alleyway, which is also being used by the street drinkers. So it is an ongoing issue. But yeah, we can only say from the interaction that the officers have had with the business in the past, really, which Ms. Shah has just explained and spoken to the committee about.
Okay. If there are no more questions from members, can I ask the applicant if you have any questions?
Just one question to Ms. Shah, actually. Just in relation to that comment about the Anthony Joshua fight recently, street drinkers and beggars outside this particular premises. Was it just this premises, or were other premises in the area suffering from the same problem?
Sorry, at hand, I don't know if there were any other premises. I can check that and get back to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I've got no further questions, Chair. Thank you.
Okay. In that case, I think we'll come to you for present your obligation then.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. Thank you to the panel for this opportunity to address you. I think it is really quite a straightforward matter, so a straightforward application, and hopefully you won't take up too much of your time this afternoon. So, of course, as you've heard, considering that an application which seeks only to remove one condition, which is on the licence, and there's one representation as a result of that. And this representation, as you've heard, is from the licensing authority in its role as a responsible authority. So just a very brief bit of background. Osdiller Supermarket is very much a local independent convenience store, retailing a range of products, fresh fruit, vegetables, etc., age-restricted products. And it's very much a family-run business in a sector which is increasingly competitive. You will, of course, seen and heard the representation, so I won't repeat what's in there now. We don't want to come across as dismissive of issues and concerns in the area which have been raised in the representation. However, we do feel that these appear to be quite generic in nature, The representation, we feel, does not give any specific reason why the licensing objectives would be undermined if that condition is removed from this particular premises, this license in particular. So it does speak of general issues in the area, and we're of course not dealing with an application that's in a cumulative impact area. So as you know, if we were in a cumulative impact area, the onus would be on us to demonstrate that we would not add to any cumulative impact. So as stated, we're just looking for that one variation today, which is to remove that condition which restricts high strength alcohol sales, just to put us on a level playing field with some of our neighbouring off license premises. We have noted that the representation seeks not only to reword that current condition to 2 separate clauses, it also seeks to add a new condition restricting the sale of miniatures, miniatures being spirit bottles, 50 centilitres normally. And again, the basis of this is unclear. We're aware, as I've said, of a number of other premises in the vicinity that all authorise the sales of alcohol for off sales. Durmac Supermarket, which is at 488 High Road, Tottenham. There's an Asda at 490 High Road, Enfield Food Centre 422, News and Booze 445, and Cyprus Supermarket at number 400, and these are within that immediate vicinity. Mr. Teemer has noted in particular that Enfield Food Centre, which is not quite opposite but almost directly opposite, does not have the same restriction. So it essentially comes down to a matter of fairness and a level playing field. We feel that it cannot be right that we're bound by a restriction that other local businesses are not bound by. If it's right that this condition is attached to this license and promote the licensing objectives, then why has it not been attached to other premises in immediate vicinity? Why do they not also have that same condition? So it's for this reason that we feel that the removal of this condition would not undermine the licensing objectives, and it's on that basis that we respectfully ask that you grant the variation this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will take questions if there are any questions. Councillor Aviv.
Thank you. On page 15, which is the part of the application under licensing objectives, it says list here steps you will take to promote all 4 licensing objectives, but you just said that it, as I understand it, I forget the exact word you said, but I just wondered what you understand as the reason for condition 15 is. Why was it imposed on this particular premises in the past by the magistrate?
I don't have the details of how that condition came about, the exact history of that particular condition. What we have heard, of course, is that there was a review application, and I'm assuming there was an appeal against that that decision that the subcommittee, I'm assuming, took, and a number of those conditions were attached, one of which we're seeking to remove. The rest of the conditions, there's no problem with those existing conditions, but it's just that one in particular. And so
yeah,
I'm assuming.
Maybe I can generalise then.
Yeah.
In general terms, what would be the reason, in your view, not to stock high strength beers, and not to stock single cans, or not to sell single cans?
Yeah, if there's a problem with street drinkers and consuming high strength alcohol in that area, then I can understand that condition being attached. But what we're saying is that not all of the premises in that area are bound by that condition, and that's essentially the contention that the applicant has.
So, I mean, we can only change conditions on licenses if they come up for review. So if someone has a license, premises license going back, liquor license going back before, say, 2003, when the licensing laws changed, we would not be able to change the conditions on their license unless there was some sort of review.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason why some other premises are allowed to sell. I mean, I'm sure my particular view.
Yeah.
So do you understand? So
yeah.
So what is different between this time last year in October when the magistrates confirmed the condition, and you're just saying that other shops are able to do it, so why shouldn't you? Is that
No. It's not
the only change?
No. It's not. Well, to a certain extent, we are saying that other shops are not bound by this condition. But what we're also saying is, if the objection seeks to maintain this condition for the promotion of the licensing objectives, but then at the same time, it's the licensing authority aren't. The reference has been made to trying to sign up businesses to, I think, voluntarily restrict high-strength alcohol sales, but I'm not aware of whether review applications or anything like that are being sought on those existing businesses. But what we are saying is that if this particular premises is allowed to sell high-strength alcohol, that just puts us on the same, in the same situation as the other existing businesses. But if we are restricted to for the basis of the promotion of the licensing objectives, then it should be the case that all of the businesses are restricted.
Yeah, I'll take that point. And the on bottom of page 35, where the licensing is saying that they'd like to change the conditions, so it includes beers, lager, stout, etc., no single cans, etc., no miniature bottles. Are other shops, do you know, in the area, or does the owner of the shop know if other shops sell miniatures?
I'd have to ask Mr. Teemer to answer that
okay,
question.
I'll accept. I'll accept that other shops probably do. Yeah. Okay. Unless someone says differently. Okay. No further questions, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Williams.
Yeah, it's just a general point, really. On reading what the licensing enforcement officer says, there does seem to be and obviously I'm around there quite a lot. There is an issue with street drinking immediately in the vicinity, which, acceptably is not necessarily anything to do with the shop. But the fact that it is so close by, obviously, we have to take into account. But I just wonder why do you want to sell beers or stout or ciders more than 6.5%? I mean, they're not just high alcohol, that's extremely high alcohol. I mean, I think the vast majority of people don't drink ever any beers or ciders in excess of 6.5%. I don't quite understand why you would want to be able to sell individual cans of that.
It's just as I said in the opening, it's a convenience store. So like any business, the applicant would just like to be able to sell a wide range of products, but particularly he would like to be able to sell the same range of products that his competitors can sell. Where he sees his competitors selling those products and he can't, he feels as if he should be able to. And the reason that he can't is to promote the licensing objectives. But those same objectives should apply to those other businesses, and that's essentially why we're making this application.
I get that. With permission, Chair, I would just say, there's lots of it's perhaps there's no perhaps no fault or blame here, but the fact of the location is that there is a problem at that location, and there may not be problems at other locations, which is presumably why a review hasn't been carried out into their licenses. So it's not an unfairness of the licensing authority, I would say. It's the location and where things happen, and to uphold the licensing objectives, that's why what happens in that area, I suppose, has to, that it's not, I don't think we plan to be unfair here.
I guess just in response to that, then, that particular point, we're looking at premises that are in the immediate vicinity. So I just looked at five premises that are located, very much in walking distance from this particular site. So not the whole length of the high street, for example, just this immediate vicinity. And the issue is that those conditions aren't attached to other premises that are right close by to us.
Okay, I think Della, you want to come in now? You got your hand up.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. So just to point out that obviously each case, we take each case on its own merits, number one. And if we're doing a comparison thing, then the nearest shop, Bucky's, for instance, which is very close by, has been subject to a review by this authority. I'm not going to go into the reasons as to why, but that premises was subject to review. It doesn't operate on a 24 hours like this particular premises does, but that went through a 3-month suspension also, and does operate differently. So there is, it is a matter of each case on its own merits, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Thank you. I agree. I have to say I agree. We can, as a subcommittee, we can only deal what it comes in front of us, really, and we cannot take a wider view only when they come here because of a review. I think Councillor Vivo wants to come back.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Just a quick question. It's a 24-hour shop that we're currently looking at. Are there other shops in the area that run 24 hours? Or is this the only one? Say within 5 minutes. So.
Yeah, there are other premises that do have a 24-hour as well.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Shah, you got your hands up?
Yes, Chair. I just wanted to address Mr. Tuit's question earlier when you asked if there were other premises.
Yes.
Yeah. So looking at the system, particularly the AJ fight, there were people begging outside this venue, but then there were also people congregating on the opposite side of the road against the post office, Holcombe Road. But these are suspected drug dealing activities that is targeted by the police. That is targeting this location and it's being dealt with currently by the police. Sorry, if that assists.
Okay, thank you. Right. If there is no more questions, I will ask you all to sum up. Can I start with you, Dalia, first? You want to sum up?
No, do you know summing up for myself, Chair?
Okay, and Shah, would you like to sum up?
Yes, Chair. I think our representation stands purely because of the location of the area and the problems we've had in the past from this premises and how it's been run. We do not support this variation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Can I ask the applicant to sum up, please?
Thank you very much, Chair, and members of the panel for your time this afternoon. It's really as we've set out this afternoon that we feel that the promotion of the licensing objectives will still be promoted if this condition is removed, as can be seen by the fact that there are a number of other premises that aren't bound by it in this immediate location, and it is for that reason we would like you to grant the license this afternoon, grant the variation this afternoon. Thank you.
Okay, if there is not, I think we come to the end. There is nobody else wants to say anything to sum up. Can I thank you for coming and joining this meeting and ask you to leave us so we can have a discussion, deliberate, make a decision. And as I said in the beginning, you will have, within 5 working days, you will have the outcome of this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.